Good evening, voters. One of the new challenges for the Election Commission this poll season will be tackling fake news, regulating social media content. The evil giant that is called the fake news is well entrenched in our country by now. It's like a wild forest fire, voters. You try and douse one end of the fire, it intensifies at another place. Tonight, we will talk about fake news, we will talk about misleading propaganda, and we will talk about political ads. But before that, to illustrate why we are doing this, to illustrate my point about fake news, just take a look at the amount of false news, fake news that was simply generated around the Pulwama terror attack. And I'm giving you this as the most recent example, from fake videos to pictures and even false theories and attempts to divide people. This is the first one. 2013 Patna blast video was used to say that the PM called a martyr's wife. Let's go on to the next one. Videos from Syria, from elsewhere, were used to say this is the terror video. There was one video that went viral that many of you may have also got, which talks about the army now torturing the terrorists, which was actually a video of a Pakistani commando who was undergoing training. Rahul Gandhi's image was actually photoshopped with the alleged picture of the terrorist to say, see, he is already posed with this terrorist who carried out this attack. There were numerous counts, many that we picked up from Alt News, the other from Boom News. Morphed image of the slain terrorist was circulated. They actually took the outline body of another star and put a man's picture on it, said this is the terrorist who was behind the Pulwama attack. All of this obviously to rile up your sentiments, to pick on your prejudices, to make you feel a certain way and react in a certain way. A Patna blast video was also used in a similar manner. So these are the various examples that we've collated for Pulwama terror attack, from misleading quotes to fabricated reports to fake accounts and fake news websites. It is all happening this election season. Now, I speak of this tonight because this platform has become a big political tool for the parties and their social media armies. Today, Google, Twitter and Facebook told the Bombay High Court that they're bringing in new rules, new stricter rules to make political advertising more transparent. So, for example, they will pre-verify. Before you can actually put out a political ad on any of these platforms, they will check who you are. Where are you from? What is your address? What is your identification? Physically authenticate this before giving you the permission, which is why they are saying start applying right away. They will also have a public library that will keep a record of sorts of all the ads, political ads that they are getting. Every time there is a political ad that will pop up in your feed, they will say it's sponsored, it's promoted, it's paid for. There are lots more which are running on the screen right now as I speak with you. The question tonight is, will this really be enough? In the light of the example that I've given you about fake news and the way that tool is being used, will just saying that political parties should label their ads as ads, will that be enough? Now, there is a petition that has been filed that says social media giants should not be allowed to put out any ads 48 hours before we go to vote. Does that really work? How will that help? Once it's out on the internet, it's out on the internet. These are some of the questions that we will be discussing tonight, from regulation of social media to battling fake news in this election season. Let's say good evening to our panelists. Abhishek Mishra, leader of BJP, Rahul Narayan, a lawyer with the Supreme Court, Vivek Surendran, assistant news editor with Times Internet Limited. He's part of the Times fact check team, and their job every day is to identify these kind of fake news and tell people that these posts, pictures or videos are fake. Sagar Kursija, he's a lawyer who is representing the petitioner who's gone to court with a case demanding that the social media giants not be allowed to carry any political ads 48 hours before voting. Savio John Joseph, co-founder for the Teen Bandar, the digital marketing agency, to give us an insight into just how big this industry is and how it really functions. Let me go across to Sagar Kursija first and ask him this question. Why is it that your client has gone to court? Do you really believe it will help if you say Facebook or Twitter shouldn't put an ad 48 hours before voting? There are so many ways. Otherwise, how do you stop WhatsApp, for example? Sagar, good evening. Can you hear me? Okay, we're just going to fix that audio issue with you, Sagar. We can't really hear you at this point of time, so I'm going to come back to you in just a bit. But let me go across to Vivek Surendra as well. Vivek, every day, and we've been also carrying a lot of these news that you all have verified and identified the fake news and put it out. It's a huge, huge challenge. In such a scenario, to say a few rules about political ads, will that really make any difference this election season?
I don't really think so, because ads are paid for. I mean, these platforms are here to make money in the end, right? So they'll find a way to bypass all the rules that are being made. Even if let's just say that that's not the case, and if a rule is made and it will be strictly followed, but there are still other ways to bypass it. For example, WhatsApp. The content I send personally to another WhatsApp number is encrypted. There is nobody who can see it. Not WhatsApp, not anybody else. So if it's not a big task to get a team to do this on a large scale. And so recently, WhatsApp, I had gone and attended a press meet by WhatsApp where they were trying to control this bulk activities. But I don't know how effective this would be.
Yes, absolutely, and that's what we wanted to understand. In fact, last week I had a conversation with former CEC, Mr. S.Y. Qureshi, and he said, yes, it is a big challenge. I know that the Election Commission is in conversation with these social media giants, but the fact of the matter is we don't know how much we can really control and regulate at this point of time. Let me see if I can go across to Sagar now. Sagar, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, Sagar, can you explain to us what is the idea behind the petition you filed for your client?
In fact, the reason behind is this, because during the law for the election is this, that for the last 48 hours nobody can campaign. The reason behind enacting such a law is this, because during the time of election the environment is that one political party say this, I will do this for the public, the other political party or the candidate says I will do this for the public. In between this, the individual voter get confused, whom do I vote? So to give a voter a peaceful environment, the parliament has enacted such a law that for the last 48 hours nobody can campaign, so voter can think in a peaceful environment and can cast his vote. Today now what is happening is that because of the emerging of the new media named as social media, the political parties and the candidates have also got a new medium or platform to campaign, and that goes on till the last date. So we are seeking so we have filed a PL that same law should be made applicable on these social media websites.
Okay, but you do realize that once it's on the internet and on some of these websites, it's very difficult to get rid of them. Once it's already made into a clipping and forwarded on WhatsApp, even if WhatsApp, Facebook or Twitter takes it down, it won't help.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Because what
Yes.
today is that any individual can post anything and Facebook will sponsor it.
Okay, let me bring in Savio as well. Savio, we've had a lot of conversations when the whole Cambridge Analytica, controversy broke out, and at that point we discussed whether or not India is ready. How clearly do we know what is being shown on our social media websites? Of course, we've come some way from there. Facebook now has details. If you see an ad on your feed, it does tell you who the advertiser is, whether they are verified or not, and all of that stuff. But is that enough, or can voters still be influenced by profiling them and putting content that can change their voting decision?
Tanvi, for sure, I think if I have to put it one way, we have moved forward from what it was, with the Cambridge Analytica issue. A lot of pointers that were made by the fellow panelists, I think, and even you started off saying that, what stays on the internet is always around. I think I'll just take a step back and understand the rules in a certain way, right? So I think 48 hours, not campaigning 48 hours prior to the elections has been around for quite some time. I still remember, I think in 2014, there was a lot of confusion around that, whether candidates can talk about it or not. So I think that this rule still makes sense because at least there is a rule in place, right? So you cannot advertise, you cannot talk about anything. So that I think is a progress. There'll always be, it's a double-edged sword, right? So the other side of it will always be questions saying whether we can curb it or not. I'm not very sure whether political parties are not allowed to advertise because in the past we've seen parties coming out with full-page ads on the day of elections. That's one way to look at it. The other thing is you're stopping people from doing ads or sponsoring content. But there's a new age influencer marketing that's taken over, right? So as an individual, I can probably go out and say that just vote for XYZ candidate. That doesn't stop me. It's exactly like how in an offline world, just outside the booth, I can just tell this to someone. So I think it's of course it's difficult to track everything at this given point in time, but I think measures have been taken by these platforms. And if you go back and see what it was almost 6-7 months ago, and we had discussed this on this very channel, that Facebook, Google, all of them will look at these elections very closely because it's a huge market. You're talking about WhatsApp and Facebook. Indian users are the highest. So this is anyway going to be was going to happen. Google's implemented it from the 14th of February. Facebook's going to implement it from the 21st of February. Also, the important factor over here is, if you would have noticed, when now you cannot forward more than 5 message at any given point in time on WhatsApp. This was implemented in India first, back in July or August, and in January 2019 is when it went global. So even platforms are looking to take measures, but it's technology, right? There'll always be ways to kind of work around
but
it. But
you
having
can
said that,
still
I think
broadcast.
these steps, in a way,
you can still
are
broadcast,
most welcome.
isn't it, Savio? I mean, I may not have
Yeah,
to.
you can broadcast, of course.
So forwarding may not may be a challenge, but you can still broadcast. At the end of the day, in the light of the Pulwama attack, we all got the same forwards. We all heard the same rumors, and I honestly think whatever it is that the WhatsApp claimed or Twitter claimed that they're doing did not work, and that is a live example right now. We are living it, and it's not working at all.
Sure. Are they quick? Yeah, true. No, absolutely. A quick point on that. I think my only thing over here is, as I mentioned, I think it's extremely difficult to curb everything at any given point in time. As I probably as I mentioned, I think we've come steps ahead. But having said that, there is a lot that still needs to be taken care of. You just open Twitter right now. It's just you never know what news to follow because you are absolutely filled with a bunch of things. So again, I probably have to put it this way, saying that the progress, for sure there is progress, but can it be curbed 100%? I don't think it's possible with technology around on that manner, Tanvi.
Okay, Mr. Rahul Narayan wanted to come in. Go ahead, please. What's your view on this?
Yeah. Look, I think to start with, one has to realize that, there is Section 126 of the Representation of People's Act, which has been around for a long time, which already says that there shall be no campaigning last 48 hours. Now, around 2004 or so, the Supreme Court of India said that this would apply also to advertisements on TV channels and stuff like that. So there was already been a sort of pre-clearance system with the Election Commission in force since 2004 by virtue of Supreme Court order, and that I would imagine that would apply to all social media in any case. Now, I mean, I'm sure this is probably what Google and YouTube and everybody else is saying, that they're probably already covered by this. So this would deal with the problem, but then I think the real thing is that this is dealing with a small aspect of a much larger problem, the multi-headed hydra that is fake news. See, it's a positive step for sure, in the sense that, at least fake news by candidates themselves and by political parties dealing with political issues, there will be some sort of accountability. And I think even more importantly that lying, fake news, so to speak, if it is traced back to a candidate or to a candidate's campaign, could be classified as a corrupt electoral practice.
Yes.
So with greater storage, with greater storage and with
How do we
greater,
do that?
greater capability
There is
of
no
finding out
way.
who's saying
WhatsApp tells us,
Rahul,
Rahul, WhatsApp tells us that there is absolutely no way right now
sorry, if
that they
people
can
if
share
people are
with
now-
how you will track it back. Who started it? How do you track it back? And especially to the candidate. A candidate can pay somebody sitting in another city, another state.
I will come to that.
Yes. Okay, go ahead, please.
No, what I was just saying was that, look, of course, this means that's exactly what I was saying. This hits directly on campaigns and on candidates and on political parties. But of course, there's always the problem of a proxy person, like you just suggested. And the real truth to that is that would be almost impossible to do. Don't forget that there are two competing interests here. And as a free speech person, as a liberal, this has to be on the top of our mind at all times. I mean, you see, the entire point of having elections, the entire point of our democracy, is that people should be allowed to say and influence others. If I would like you to vote in a particular way, I should be allowed to say that. If I'm a political party, etc., or if I'm putting my something wrong or something bad, that is a different thing altogether. Now, don't forget that if I am saying something which is like so to speak, which is hate speech, that is already covered by a certain provision of the IPC. If that influences an election, and I mean, I'm sure the burden of proof for this would be pretty high, if you know what I mean. But if somebody is able to prove that a certain fake news propagated by X, Y, Z influenced the election, he could fight a case, fight an election petition and say that this is a corrupt electoral practice, which it actually is. But then, like I said, the larger issue would be almost impossible to deal with, because, for example, if I am just saying something which out of my conviction, because I feel that may be the truth, it would be really difficult for us to kind of curb that at any time. I mean, this is probably the reason why fake news has been such a big problem everywhere. And now coming to the social media giants.
Yes, but now we are talking about organized propaganda and organized way with a structure in place, with troll armies being built to really ensure that in the least amount of time you're able to reach out to maximum people, and you do it in such a smart way that you just tweak a few words here, you just tweak one part of the video or one part of the picture that people will not even realize. And it becomes so difficult then to make out what's true and what's false.
Look, I think...
I just want to give a few examples. Let me go across to, our
I think as far as this
last
is
panel. Yeah, I'll come back to you, Rahul Naran. I just want to highlight what happened in the run-up to the Karnataka election. Yes. And the same, by the way, also happened in the run-up to Gujarat elections. A short video showcasing BJP leaders who allegedly consume or endorse beef was made as a content, as a video that was shared all over, locally in smaller groups. And then the other side, then BJP hit back, and they made, or their supporters made a similar kind of a video that was then shared. Congress then came out with a series which said "Recipe for Disaster," where they spoke and cooked up these stories about Yogi Adityanath, and there is no way really to trace back where it's honestly coming from. Who has the time? By the time you crack down on it, the damage is already done. People have already shared it, discussed it, thought about it, and made a decision on it. This was in Karnataka. Same thing happened in the Gujarat state elections, where videos were being circulated on Twitter, on WhatsApp.
Blame the social media giants for
I'm not blaming them. I'm just right now saying how this is being used. I'm absolutely not blaming them right now. I'm saying this is what is happening on those platforms. So, Abhishek Mishra, do you think there is a way to stop this at all?
What I would like to say is that
all political parties have mastered the art of using these tools, and at this point, it just looks like the authorities are catching up.
Tanvi, you must get some facts clear. The debate pertains to the question that whether FB, Twitter, Mr. Rahul, let me speak. Mr. Rahul, let me speak. You have had your chance.
Yes, Rahul, the question is to the BJP leader. Let him respond, please. Abhishek Mishra is responding. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah. So the topic of the debate is whether FB, Twitter and Google are putting up a smoke screen. Now you have to get some facts right here. I think nobody has debated that till now. Election Commission of India in September and October had put up some set of recommendations to these bodies.
in that recommendation, the ECI had clearly said that you have to first of all give us a mechanism where if there is any objectionable content, we can strike it down. Second, the ECI had clearly said that whatever political ads you will be advertising on your platform will have to be first cleared by us. So your question whether it's a smoke screen, first of all, it has come from the ECI. It is not that these platforms, these commercial platforms from abroad have decided on their own to do some good for the election. So first of all, have this clear. It was an ECI recommendation. Secondly, today in the Mumbai High Court, what they have said is they have not exactly adhered to what the ECI said. They said that not at what ECI will put. They are saying we will have our own mechanism. Facebook will have its own mechanism where we'll have an advertiser, official accredited advertiser. Only if he gives us an ad whom we have verified, will we put up the advertisement on our platform and we'll give all the details. So first of all, what the ECI recommended has not been fully followed by Facebook, Twitter and Google. Secondly, you must understand these companies are commercial entities. They have nothing to do. Their stake is their profit. You have to be very clear on that. Indians should not get emotionally attached to these companies. These are commercial entities who want a larger share of the Indian people. So in our Indian elections, our Election Commission of India is competent enough. It will take the right decisions. There's already a PIL filed by the person who's sitting here.
Okay, so now one minute.
In the Mumbai High Court.
Yes, Abhishek, 1 minute please. Can I? What we have listed out right now is what the representatives of Google, Facebook and Twitter have told either the High Court or they have already implemented it in some cases. This is not what the Election Commission has recommended. On the basis of what they have submitted in the Bombay High Court, the Bombay High Court, 1 minute please, let me finish my point. Let me finish my point. On the basis of what they have submitted today, in fact, the Bombay High Court has asked the ECI that you tell us within the next 1 week if you think this is enough or more needs to be done. So I am right now not debating what the ECI has said. I am right now talking about what these guys have claimed that they are doing or they have done.
Hence, that's what I'm saying. It's a smoke screen. Yes, it is a smoke screen. They are not doing what is exactly required. They are
what
saying
should they be doing?
Who is Facebook to self-regulate? No. So ECI had clearly given its recommendation that all the political ads you put on your platform will have to be verified by the Election Commission of India, which is the competent authority. ECI is the competent authority for elections in India, not a Facebook, Twitter guy. You have to be very clear on that. Facebook, Twitter has to adhere to ECI.
Okay, Savio wants to come in.
They are not self-entities to do what they want.
Okay. So I think, of course, they are the point made by the BJP leader, if I'm not mistaken, if I got that right.
Yes.
Of course, they are commercial entities, and I think that's absolutely fine because at the end of the day, they are running a business. It's a little amusing because BJP came riding on social media wave in 2014. So I think saying that, and of course, at the end of the day, as I said, look at the way things have turned around in the last 6-7 months. I think, the Twitter CEO has been served a notice by the parliamentary panel as well. So at this given point of time, saying that, it's a commercial entity, they're doing wrong or right, I don't think is the right way to put it out. Of course, it's at the end of the day, it's technology and it's a platform. There'll be ways people could probably find it around to do things, but to kind of just push them in the corner and say that we haven't, and especially when Narendra Modi is probably the first social media prime minister of India. So the BJP party at this point in time, if they end up saying, or any party for a matter of fact ends up saying that there is something wrong on that side with the platforms,
you are
have also used it to the maximum.
This is about
if the Congress kind of says anything.
Savio, it is not about technology. It is about procedures. Election Commission of India has a duty towards India, the people of India, towards the Constitution of India. They should hold elections in a proper, fair, responsible manner. If a company runs from abroad is trying to do something in India, it has a duty to regulate. It is not. One second. It is not about who gets what benefit, who came on social media first, who wrote the wave first. It is about procedures.
I find it very...
how election will be done in India. So Savio, don't try to be...
Abhishek, I find it very slightly amusing
bad for these companies.
That you being a representative from BJP are currently so worked up about what these guys are not doing, because if any party has mastered the art of using these social media tools, it is your party. You don't even have to have a direct BJP account or directly BJP actually giving ads to Facebook. You have 1001 BJP supporters, this Mantri supporter and that Mantri supporter groups who are doing it on your behalf. So of course you want the procedures to be followed for BJP because you have 1001 proxies doing it for your party on behalf of your party with the money from the party. That being the point. Now Rahul Narayan wanted to come. Now Rahul Narayan wanted to come in.
10 years back, the rules have to change.
Are you getting what I'm saying?
It's about procedure. It is about rules. It's not about
Of course
BJP
it is.
Congress.
I am not disagreeing with you.
I'm
I'm not.
What you're saying. You're not getting what I'm saying.
I'm not even debating
Election
with you
Commission
on the
has to make some laws.
procedures.
They're
I'm
making the
just
laws.
saying
What's wrong?
it's slightly amusing for me to see BJP talk about it
May I
because
just
of course
say-
you want
For you, it's not
procedures to
amusing.
be
It's not
followed
amusing. It's not
because you have
about BJP.
1001
It's not
proxies
about
of
BJP. It's
BJP
about Mumbai
out
High Court,
there
Election Commission of
campaigning
India.
and advertising for you, which is also not against the rules, so that's also fine. Savio, 1 minute please. Rahul Narayan wanted to come in, so let him make his point and then I will come back to you and to Vivek. Yes.
Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to say, I just wanted to add that that social media, for example, at the end of the day is just a tool. The people who are actually spreading the fake news are the people who are actually doing it. So while I agree that there should be greater accountability in terms of you know, for example, regulating or controlling political messaging, in the end, one has to see that the people who are actually spreading the message, the message has to go back to them. Which is why I suggested that if there can be an amendment to the Representation of People's Act to make this a further corrupt electoral practice, that if there is a huge misinformation campaign which has benefited you and you are able to prove that this is the other party is able to prove that this has happened, then the election should be struck as void. As regards anything else, you know, like I said, it's very difficult to say if I want to forward something because I want to forward it and I'm a member of 25 groups on WhatsApp,
Yes.
then I should be allowed to do that in any case. It's very difficult for people to say that you can't do that, period. And as regards, I mean, like I said, this is a great tool to control activity by candidates themselves and by political parties, but it may not really necessarily affect the individuals who are part of social media armies or different political parties and whatever they do.
Okay, I have
So
one basic question.
like I said, it's almost impossible to control it, and like I said, to blame them, it's not fair.
No, so then who will control them? If we cannot expect these social media giants to do it, who will do it? If they refuse to give access to our authorities, if they refuse to give access to the Election Commission of India, then who will ensure a crackdown? Yes, Abhishek, to
I
you
don't think
and
they're refusing at all. Actually, they're agreeing to be bound by the same rules as other people.
Abhishek Mishra, please.
Aren't
yes.
they saying they will be bound by
Rahul, you may be a
126,
lawyer for
same
them.
as
I want to give a simple
everybody else, same as
reply.
CG
Why I think it is smoke screen. Tanvi, let us come to the topic of debate. Election
political
Commission of
reply.
India, in its recommendation, had clearly said, give us a mechanism wherein we can delete objectionable content from your platform if we think it is against the rules of the ECI. Now, today in Mumbai High Court, Facebook, Google and Twitter have not told the Mumbai High Court that how they are going to give a mechanism to the ECI. So, they are trying to, the High Court just take a way out, say that we'll do something on our own. Don't put ECI front of us. I think Facebook, Google, Twitter will have to give a mechanism to delete and remove any objectionable content, and that is how fake news will be removed. So what ECI has said, Facebook, Twitter and Google should comply.
Okay, is that for political campaigns and ads, or is that
I don't think it's
also
quite as simple as
for fake news and misleading
political
content?
ads.
Yes. So that's
for
the
political ads.
Okay. So
ECI
here
is
is
not
where
for
I
political
am
ads,
trying
election,
to
yeah,
draw
for
a larger parallel to say, even if, let's just say, even if Election Commission manages to come up with a way to track and to observe political ads by parties on social media, let's just agree on the fact that the pre-verification program, the pre-certification program of the social media giants is successful, and they managed to do it for official election campaigns or electoral ads. What about the rest of it? What about the 1001 proxies that each unit of each party in that area uses? What happens then? Vivek, it's a sea out there. It's an army that is being used by all of these political parties. Can we really stop it? The Election Commission was forced to come out and give a clarification. We've not issued any poll dates. Please don't believe the fake news that you're getting.
Exactly. So I'd like to make a few points here. One, when we talk about fake news on social media, it is a huge problem. I'm talking now about Facebook and Twitter. The number of people using Facebook and Twitter in India is quite large. But if you ask me if people see fake news on Facebook or Twitter and then get influenced and then it leading to a change in the voting pattern, I'm not really sure. What I can tell you is that fact checkers should come in. There are a lot of them now. Times Internet started Times Fact Check in August. There is Alt News that's been running for like 3 years. There is Boom Live. India Today has one. Fact checkers are trying their best to bust fake news. Facebook, we are working with Facebook, WhatsApp, Google, all of them, and they are all doing their bits. But the kind of reach fake news gets on WhatsApp, and there are more dangerous platforms here. Say TikTok. And then there's something called ShareChat. These are platforms we have not even explored. We have not even started exploring. But those who want to spread fake news, they are very clear how to do it, and they will try to do it in that sense. So now we are trying to make a pattern or make a setup where we send the fact checks as forward messages so that it also get that kind of reach. But otherwise, it's very tough for anybody to control what people are telling other people. It's just like you can't control what I'm telling my friend. You know, they'll find a way to do it.
Okay. In fact, let me pick up this another example, even for our viewers to understand what is it that we are talking about. Yeah, I'm coming to you only, Savio. So let me put across my question, and then you can address both the things. This is a story that Scroll has just done, and they have put out, and it's the headline says, "Clean the Nation Inside the Facebook group that plotted to get anti-nationals sacked and prosecuted." Exactly. Now, this is what happened, viewers, after the Pulwama attack, that there was this group that came about together on Facebook, and they said that we will target people on social media right away, leave everything else. Let's just start looking at people who are having a critical view about the attack or the government, or are mocking it or taking a negative line on it, and let's target them. Let's complain to their employers, let's complain to the authorities and bring them down. The entire concept of this group was to target the so-called anti-nationals and to bring them down. And we do know that in many other cases, not through this group, complaints have been filed, sedition cases have been filed. So my question here is there a format to deal with these kind of, concerted, organized campaigns, then go out? Savio, 1 minute. Vivek wanted to come in on this point, and then I'm coming to you. Yes, Vivek.
Yeah, I just came across a tweet by Hewlett Packard India this morning, where it said the company has fired an employee for making certain comments. I went through those comments, and there was nothing objectionable in that, at least according to me. And I did tweet and asked HP why this person was sacked. He was sacked just because another person who did not agree with this person's views complained, raised it to HP, and he was fired. I don't know how this works. If that's the case, things are going to work. Then a lot of us won't have jobs.
Yes.
I don't know how this works.
Yes. So, Savio, my point is, will there ever be a possibility where Facebook or the said social media platform is actually able to track this concerted effort and maybe raise the red flag over there?
Okay, quick things. I'll come to the question, Tanvi, that you raised. A few things before that. I think I've been hearing the debate. I think most importantly, you also mentioned this, that you cannot blame the platform. The platform is used by the people. That's us, right? And with the politicians, if we probably have to put it out there, there are guidelines on ground, right? So when a politician's out there campaigning during elections, there is someone from the EC monitoring that person regularly, and there is a budget sheet that's probably kept aside so that the person doesn't overspend. That's one thing. Second is also the fact that places that the candidate goes and addresses, that also is recorded, where the candidate is kept in check by the EC. Here's the same thing. So candidate probably need to follow the guidelines that are set by the EC. It's the platform, right? It's the way I am on this television. There are others speaking over here. The same thing goes for the internet platforms or the social platforms. It's a platform. So at the end of the day, it's on you how you want to talk about it, because I can probably say what I want. So that needs to be coming from responsibly from the political parties and the politicians. Coming to your question in terms of what Scroll reported today, there is, if you ask me, can it be cracked down? I don't think it's completely possible, because you're talking about such a large base. We're talking about 300 million users in India. For Facebook, it's the largest. It's miles ahead of USA, and 200 million active users on WhatsApp. So what are we talking about? It's difficult to cope. So it needs to be responsible from both sides, right? Also to address the fake news, which probably has taken over all possible platforms, be it on your phone or be it on your desktop or wherever it is. It's important, along with I was reading this tweet somewhere. It's important that along with the good morning message that you send or you receive on your family group, you also need to send a fact check message. So so that's where you probably need to up your game as a user as well, because at the end of the day,
I spend a lot of my time through the day just actually doing that, responding to most of these forwards that I get, where I go back first, tell them this is fake, please don't spread it, and then dig deeper to tell them why it is fake.
It should be backed.
Yeah.
You probably back it with something which is like a fact check news. That's one. And thirdly, most importantly, the platforms like the fellow panelists mentioned, that's TikTok and ShareChat, that still is probably out there, and the universe is so large. We're talking about the top platforms or apps in India, but what about the others that are out there which will be used?
So let me just elicit few more of these fake news, examples that we've collated together. BJP leader Giriraj Singh shared a fake news that said that was supposedly from a website sounding similar to BBC but not BBC, which said Congress is the most corrupt party in the world or something like that, and that post went viral. There was a report that came out saying the EVM malfunctioned in Uttar Pradesh, but there was actually a Chhattisgarh video that was doing the rounds and nothing had happened in Uttar Pradesh, or the other way around. There was another one which happened. BJP Bihar unit actually used a 2009 picture of a project to say, see, this is the development that has happened under us now. There was an example where, again, Paresh Rawal, the actor who is a vocal supporter of the current government, used this data, which is false and misleading, to say that there have been less terror attacks under the current government. The fact of the matter is, and Abhishek, this question is to you, that if we can't blame the platforms, should we, as leaders in political parties, be slightly more responsible of what we are tweeting, including some of our ministers who cut, copy, paste? The other day we had Prateek Sinha here on our channel showing how they got into one of these documents that are shared on WhatsApp groups. They changed a few text lines here and there, and you had union ministers sharing tweets that made absolutely no sense, criticizing their own government.
Tanvi, what I find shocking is that you are only giving instances of people, some mistakes but done by some people from the Bharatiya Janata Party. You have to understand there's a lot of data going on. The leaders are always busy. Sometimes some things here and there may happen. It's a very huge country, and small mistakes, if 99.99% of the tweets are accurate and right, if 0.1 something goes wrong in 10 years, you cannot take it out. And so don't be selective. Give me examples of the Congress party, of the different political parties.
Well, your BJP is in power and center and in majority of the states right now, and I hold the authority to accountability, not those people who are not relevant and taking decisions for our voters, which is why I'm quoting BJP examples. I don't care what Rahul Gandhi tweets right now. He is not a minister. He is not taking policy decisions. I don't have any faith in him as my minister or elected leader. Go ahead, please. But you understand the larger point. Restraint from the political parties is what I'm asking you.
I understand what you're trying to ask.
Yeah.
No. You see, political party, I can speak for the Bharatiya Janata Party. We have always used social media for the good of the people. And our intention always has been to put out the right facts front of the people and always create a larger vision for development of India. Now, instances here and there you cannot take. Now you mentioned some Pratik Sinha. These are people who are leftist. They are people who are focused on somehow trying to discredit the government. Now you cannot take people who are working in the in the Lieutenant's Delhi and trying to discredit the government and give me the name. So I don't want to answer anything what Pratik Sinha is or anyone of that sort has written. Now the larger question is, these social media companies, they are used by large section of the people of India. Definitely they must be monitored by the Election Commission of India. Definitely their personal agendas must not be, people should not be confused by that. And I think it's the right step what the ECI is doing, and Bombay High Court, I in fact congratulate the lawyer sitting for the person who has given the PIL. At least he has taken it to the Mumbai High Court and told the Mumbai High Court, give directions to these companies that tomorrow,
all right. Running out of time.
With an agenda can use these companies. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Running out of time, so I'm going to thank all of our panelists. You heard there what the BJP representative had to say. The onus is on Election Commission and on these social media giants, definitely not on the political parties, and I agree with him because they are not going to change. So don't expect your political party to suddenly stand up one day and say, oh, we are only going to tell you the truth. We are not going to peddle any lies. We are not going to peddle any malicious campaigns, any smear campaigns. We are not going to mislead you, because they are going to do all of those things. Now, what you as a voter can do is find out whether what is being shared with you 10 times, 15 times in a day on your Twitter feed, Facebook feed or WhatsApp feed, find out if it's actually true. We here on The Last Word have been repeatedly telling you ways of spotting fake news, and we will continue to do that in the run-up to these elections. Look at the URL, look at the picture, reverse Google that picture to see if it's been used elsewhere. Don't just believe anything that you randomly get on WhatsApp. There's a lot at stake here. False rumors and lies can trigger violence, riots, and even get fatal. It can also change voting patterns. People can decide who they want to vote if they get convinced by this. So think about what you're sharing, even in your friend groups and family groups. We, on our part, will continue to make not just the political parties accountable, but also Facebook and Twitter and Google, and continue to question the Election Commission on if they are doing enough to crack down on social media this election season. Thank you so much for joining us on this debate. Now, before we wrap up, the latest on the big story we've been tracking here all this week. For the first time since the terror attack in Pulwama, Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan spoke out today, and he, obviously, not surprisingly, denied any Pakistani hand in the attack that claimed lives of 40 CRPF soldiers. He asked India not to blame Pakistan without any evidence. Remember, it's Jaish-e-Mohammed has already claimed responsibility for this attack. Jaish-e-Mohammed that functions out of Pakistan.
पहले तो आपने पाकिस्तान पे इल्जाम लगा दिया, ना कोई एविडेंस, ना कोई सोचा कि इसके अंदर पाकिस्तान का क्या फायदा है। अगर पाकिस्तान इतनी अहम कॉन्फ्रेंस कर रहा था और इतनी विजिट जो क्राउन प्रिंस की थी, जो हम इतनी देर से प्लान कर रहे थे, कोई अहमद भी इस तरह का वाकया करेगा अपनी कॉन्फ्रेंस को सैबोटाज करने के लिए? और अगर ये ना भी होती उनकी विजिट, पाकिस्तान को इससे क्या फायदा है? क्यों पाकिस्तान इस स्टेज के ऊपर, जब पाकिस्तान स्टेबिलिटी की तरफ जा रहा है, हमारे पास हमने 15 साल की दहशतगर्दी की जंग, जिसमें 70,000 पाकिस्तानी मारे गए हैं, एक दहशतगर्दी नीचे जा रही है, अमन आ रहा है, स्टेबिलिटी आ रही है, हम क्यों कोई इस तरह का, इससे हमें फायदा क्या है? मैं आपको वाज़े तौर पे कह रहा हूं कि ये नया पाकिस्तान है, ये नई माइंडसेट है, नई सोच है। हम ये समझते हैं कि हमारे इंटरेस्ट में है कि ना हमारी जमीन से कोई जाके बाहर दहशतगर्दी करे और ना बाहर से आगे कोई पाकिस्तान में दहशतगर्दी करे। हम स्टेबिलिटी चाहते हैं।
Well, reacting to Pakistani Prime Minister's response that neither condemned the attack nor offered any condolences, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley said that at a time when the entire nation is in mourning, Pakistani Prime Minister is asking for evidence, and that shows his lack of sympathy. Jaitley further added that Pakistani Prime Minister will find evidence in his own home ground.
There is not even a pretext of an outright condemnation of the incident. A very shallow logic that provides to us and actionable intelligence. As though the origin of the crime is not known. Actionable intelligence can only provide some clues. Here the perpetrators of crime have admitted to the crime, and those perpetrators are admittedly located in the country of which Shri Khan is the Prime Minister. The evidence is in your own home.
That is a wrap on this edition of The Last Word. Have a good night.